There are some incredible looter games flying under the radar right now that deserve way more attention. Games with progression systems that keep you thinking about builds at work, combat that feels genuinely satisfying, and communities that actually welcome newcomers. These are games that span across old and new. So I've been diving into the looter scene lately, and as you guys know, I'm a big looter guy. Like, everything is loot-based. If it's shiny, I like to collect it, and I've always been just drawn back to this genre no matter how far away I stray. And as I've gone through this scene, some of the experiences have surprised me, and it's been very interesting to watch some of these games grow over time. Games that I played multiple years ago are still continuing to receive updates. So today we're talking about games that made me lose track of time completely and rethink what this genre can deliver. But before we get to that, I want to talk about today's sponsor. Today's video sponsor is War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and it's available now for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. So this thing's everywhere. You can play it any way, shape, or form. So whatever form factor you prefer, it is there for you. And in War Thunder, you can take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of over 10 major nations, ranging from biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. Check out War Thunder using my links below, including a link for mobile players to download. New and returning players who haven't played in 6 months can get a massive bonus pack with exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account available to PC and console players only. So today we're covering 11 games that showcase the best of what looter gameplay offers right now. We're talking space ninjas with incredible movement systems, ARPGs with deep customization that actually makes sense, co-op experiences where teamwork creates genuine moments that you'll always remember. Now, these aren't just random picks, right? Each one brings something special to the table, whether it's innovative mechanics, exceptional value, or just that perfect gameplay loop that keeps you coming back. There's something here worth discovering. So let's explore what makes these games stand out and why they deserve a spot in your rotation. So game number 1, Warframe. Warframe continues to be remarkable. It is a free-to-play game that offers more content and better value than most premium titles. Digital Extreme has maintained constant quality and generous monetization for over a decade, and Warframe veterans are some of the most welcoming people, and they just want other people to play the game, you know? And it's just one of those things where I jumped in and I got a wonderful experience from people. It wasn't like, hey, you know, you're new, you get to go through this gauntlet like a hazing experience. Instead, it was, hey, what can I help you with? Now, in Warframe, the space ninja theme is perfectly executed. The movement system makes other games feel sluggish by comparison. You have wall running, bullet jumping, sliding through levels, unleashing abilities that creates a power fantasy that few games can match. And the monetization is genuinely fair. You can experience virtually all content without spending money, and like I mentioned, the community welcomes other players. Now, when players voluntarily support a free game, that tells you something about the quality and the respect the developers show their audience. If you're looking for value and you don't mind a learning curve, Warframe is exceptional. Moving on to number 2, Grim Dawn. So Grim Dawn represents everything great about traditional action RPGs done right. This is a complete polished experience from Create Entertainment that both respects your time and your intelligence. This is a Diablo-like, it's a top-down, so if you're somebody that really likes this and you haven't tried Grim Dawn yet, now is your time. Accept this call because you need to go out and try it. The dual class system creates incredible build diversity. You can combine any 2 of the 8 masteries, leading to dozens of viable character archetypes. The devotion constellation system adds another layer of customization that feels meaningful rather than just adding points for the sake of adding points. And what sets Grim Dawn apart is its atmosphere and its world building. The post-apocalyptic setting genuinely feels oppressive and dangerous. The loot system strikes a good balance between rare items feeling special and then having the crafting system that you can lean on that lets you improve gear meaningfully. Now, there's no online-only requirement, no microtransactions, and no FOMO. It's just a solid action RPG. You can play it at your own pace. You can play it offline. This is usually my go-to, this one and Last Epoch, when I go on business trips, because I can play both offline and they're fantastic games. Now, Grim Dawn is also adding expansions, and they're still adding expansions. You have substantial content that comes in. It doesn't fragment the experience. So if you want a complete action RPG without the complications of live service games, this one is it. Now, we also have upcoming expansions for Grim Dawn as well. So just another thing on the horizon. So you can get in now, play, and you'll be ready to rock for when the expansion hits. Let's talk about number 3, Deep Rock Galactic. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Deep Rock Galactic isn't a complete looter. No, it's not, but there are loot-based elements, and this is a game that is just, it's too good to ignore. This game has cultivated one of the most positive communities in gaming. The rock and stone culture isn't just marketing. It represents a genuinely welcoming player base. I've never met a Deep Rock Galactic person that was toxic or pushed you down because you're new. Instead, they're always, yeah, come on, let's go, man. Let's go on a mission together. Let's do something. So in this game, you're dwarven space miners in fully destructible environments fighting alien bugs. And the co-op focus makes every mission feel collaborative rather than competitive. Procedural cave generation keeps missions feeling somewhat fresh, and the class-based gameplay creates a natural team dynamic because not any one class can do everything. Now, the business model itself, let's talk about that. There are free battle passes, there's no predatory monetization, you have regular, meaningful updates, and excellent developer communication. This approach feels increasingly rare and valuable, especially in 2025. Now, the core gameplay loop is straightforward, but it's well executed. You drop in, you mine resources, you fight enemies, you extract as a team, you explore, you uncover things, and you make genuine memories. There are so many times where you have this like experience with whether it's friends or randoms, and you're thinking, man, what a fun game just to go and just mess around as a co-op. So the execution's polished, the community welcomes newcomers, and it's just one of those games that's fantastic. So I mentioned it earlier, number 4, Last Epoch. This is one of my favorite games. Last Epoch, where it really kind of carves out its niche, is it serves as an interesting middle ground between Diablo's sort of accessibility, where, hey, everybody can jump in and play a Diablo-like, right? And Path of Exile's complexity. So on one hand, you have accessibility where you can just jump in and play, and then on the other hand, you have deep, complex systems that requires you to learn a lot in order to really sink your teeth into the game and progress far. Last Epoch lands in between this. They have a skill specialization system that's well designed. It lets you modify abilities in meaningful ways. The crafting system provides good control over gear progression. You don't ever really feel like you're not in control and you're truly putting everything up to RNG. The game features multiple masteries and different classes that you can play as. They leaned heavy into the seasonal model, so they are doing that. Season 2 was fantastic. Season 3 was a little bit weaker, and I think that's because they were focusing a little bit more on the story. And the story itself is pretty interesting. So there's a time travel aspect to it. It's pretty engaging. So you get to travel through different eras in time, and you get to see these bosses before they become corrupted, and you get to fight alongside them. So you sort of have this interesting ancient era, void era, end time era, and you go back and forth between the two. The end game system, monoliths, it provides some good variety. It's sort of like mapping. There are some progression systems there, and the seasons add quite a bit to it. So if you don't mind some, little performance issues here and there, and you appreciate deep character customization, it's definitely a game worth trying. It's one I always recommend to people. And they recently just announced it's coming to PlayStation 5, as well as their first major expansion, which I believe will probably be paid. There's no confirmation on that, but it's just kind of a vibe thing. So just keep that in mind. But Last Epoch, definitely one to check out. So we're going to go right into number 5, which is another one of my favorite games, and that's Remnant 2. Remnant 2, and for honest, Remnant 1 is also incredible. Both of these games are fantastic. Remnant 2 just builds upon the success of Remnant 1. Now, this game, if you've never played it, it successfully combines Dark Souls-style challenge with a looter-shooter type of progression. Now, this also isn't just difficult for difficulty's sake, so don't go into this thinking, God, man, it's just going to be morally crushing 24/7 because it's a Dark Souls. Not really. So I don't like Dark Souls games typically, but Remnant I felt was a really good balance between, hey, you need to understand what you're doing and you need to learn the boss's toolkit, but at the same time, it's not overly punishing. You can usually get out of certain things and you can make life a little bit easier for yourself. So please don't hear Dark Souls and immediately shut it off and go to the next one, because I think you'll be doing yourself a disservice. Now, the procedural generation does affect boss encounters, world layouts, story elements, making multiple playthroughs feel distinct rather than repetitive, and this is something that the first game did as well. When you launch a new game, you kind of roll a world, and you're going to get certain bosses, you're going to get certain encounters, you're going to get certain kind of hidden secrets, certain weapon drops, those type of things. And so as you play through a campaign or a story, you're going to have things that you can unlock, and then next time when you roll a new campaign, you might have brand new things you've never seen before. And this is what made the game very interesting. Now, not only is the kind of procedural thing great, but the world itself is fantastic. I love exploring Remnant. So Remnant is 3-player co-op, which is a little weird, but it does actually create some incredible team dynamics for tackling all of this content. At 3 players, you'd think, but it gives you a tank, healer, and DPS kind of triangle here. Now, what works here is that loot feels earned through skill rather than through time investment, which is great. Defeating a difficult boss with a well-coordinated team or just by yourself solo. I played most of the game solo. And bosses drop meaningful gear, which makes you feel more powerful, and it's just a great, great system. So if you want your progression to feel earned and enjoy challenging cooperative content, Remnant 2 delivers 100%. We also have some new DLC expansions coming, I'm pretty sure, in the near future, and I know for a fact they're definitely working on Remnant 3. They have to. This is one of the best series that I've played, so it has to be going on. All right, game number 6, Risk of Rain 2. So Risk of Rain 2 successfully translated the beloved 2D original into 3D while also maintaining what made it really special. So this roguelike kind of structure creates incredible replayability through item synergy, scaling difficulty, and just a lot of just randomness. So every run, you start off weak, right? Just like a typical roguelike. And then you can potentially, get builds put together that give you sort of godlike power. You make all of these different smart choices, you play well, and you continue to get deeper and deeper into the game. And as you do, you get more and more stuff, and you get more and more powerful, and it feels good. The progression curve in this game is excellently tuned. You're either always building power or fighting to survive. So the 4-player co-op in this game also amplifies this into just chaos. Everyone becomes overpowered together. It's so much fun. You're able just to blow things up, and it's just a fireworks show 24/7. Now, like typical roguelikes, remember, you're also going to unlock permanent upgrades. So you do have some long-term progression there. You're not always just like resetting every time. So don't feel like your time is wasted. Instead, each run is going to give you progress towards a permanent unlock. New characters, new items, new challenges, etc. And this game just demonstrates how roguelike mechanics and looter progression can complement each other perfectly when they're designed thoughtfully. So, Risk of Rain 2, if you haven't played it, you've probably heard of it, give it a shot because it's fantastic. So let's talk about an older one that's still receiving updates and one that had a massive community, but has sort of teetered off a little bit as time has gone on, and that's Division 2. So Division 2 is a game that I really, really enjoyed when it first dropped. I was playing it. You guys probably remember I covered it quite extensively on my channel. And this game remains actively supported with seasonal content, regular updates. So if you're somebody who tried it early on and you're kind of like, hey, great, you moved on, it's been a couple years, go back, because there's a lot of stuff that you can experience now. So for those who have been under a rock and haven't really heard of Division 2, this is a tactical cover-based game. It is a looter shooter. It creates a different feel from most shooters because it, again, is sort of tactical. Positioning, team composition, gear synergies, they matter in ways that reward thoughtful play, and it's something that you have to sort of focus on. The world building is post-pandemic Washington, D.C. During the summertime. It's pretty great. Now, I was a little bit more biased towards Division 1. I really liked the winter sort of New York feel. I felt like that just worked a lot better. Summertime, I don't really like it as much, but I'm not here for the environment. I'm here for the gameplay. Now, the end game in Division 2 has expanded with world tiers, specialization, seasonal activities. You get multiple progression paths. The gear system has been refined to be more rewarding and less frustrating than at launch. So you have a lot of updates and improvements that the developers have continued to pump into this game. So returning, if you haven't played in a few years, you might feel overwhelmed by the amount of content, but just know there's a lot to work through, and there's some fantastic creators out there that have been keeping up with this game, and I guarantee you they have some returning player guides. So I want to talk about another one. We're going to go to outer space, and that's Everspace 2. So Everspace 2 offers something unique. Space combat with deep ARPG-style loot progression. So if you think Path of Exile in space, you're not too far off. So the single player focus in this game is refreshing because typically you have all of these live service games, right? You have seasons, you have all of these different things. There's no FOMO in Everspace 2. There's no time gates. You just explore, you progress at your own pace, and you can customize your ship. And this progression runs deep. You can unlock weapons, legendary weapons, equipment, visual modifications, different tools, all of these things that let you create your perfect spacecraft. And because this is space and it's a massive space, exploration feels genuinely rewarding. You have hidden locations, you have distress signals, you have loot caches, environmental storytelling. You have all of these things that'll catch your attention. You're going warp drive through space, and suddenly you get a distress signal, and you're like, what is that? So you leave warp, and you go over and you check it out, and you figure out this ship's being attacked by space pirates, and you try to help them, and then it sends you off on a side quest. There's so much packed into this game, so if you're a space person, but you really want a loot-based game, Everspace 2 is fantastic. So definitely check this one out. This is near completion, if not complete. I believe they said they had their final update for Everspace 2. So what you're looking at now is the complete experience. Go out there, give it a shot. Game number 9, Path of Exile 2. This one's in early access, but it represents the future of action RPGs in my mind. So Grinding Gear Games has completely rebuilt their engine and redesigned core systems while also maintaining the depth that made the original pretty beloved. Now, they went through and they overhauled the skill gem system. And if you played the first one, you know kind of how that works, and you sort of understand skill gems, support gems, all of those things. But that was also one of the things that was most frustrating about it. Trying to get a 6 link towards the end of the game was brutal, especially on a piece of gear that you really wanted. Now you can set those skills independently from your gear, and you don't necessarily have to depend on gear drops so much. So here, you're going to choose from multiple characters, you're going to still have ascendancies, you're going to play through a gorgeous world. Now, the one thing that we have in Path of Exile 2 that's different from the first, this game has been considerably slowed down. So don't expect to just hit the ground and start zooming, or for your build to come online at like level 10. You are going to play through a slower version of Path of Exile. Now, I'm not saying it's not fun. It's not. It's a great game. But what I am saying is don't expect to just zoom through and map clear, especially super early. So keep that in mind. Everything else, they've done an incredible job, and they just overhauled endgame to make it easier, more approachable, and smooth out the progression from end of story into endgame. So if you like Path of Exile 1, give Path of Exile 2 a shot. Game number 10, Nioh 2. Now, Nioh brings something unique to looter space. Challenging action combat with deep RPG systems and a meaningful loot progression tied to it. So Team Ninja created something special, and I think they know it. A lot of people really like Nioh, and I'll admit I spent probably the least amount of time in this game as all of the others, but it was still a really fun experience. So the combat system can be complex, but it's also rewarding as well. Managing your stamina, your weapon stances, and your abilities creates a tactical depth that goes beyond typical action games, right? You're not sitting there just spamming an ability. You have to manage things just like you would a typical Dark Souls type of game. You're looking at your cooldowns, you're looking at all of your different setups, you're looking at your stamina, you're trying to survive. And then we have a loot system that supports this game. And you have this loot that drops that has meaningful stat differences, set bonuses. It changes how you approach encounters because you need to make sure you have the best things possible, just like you would in a typical Dark Souls. Now, what sets this game apart is how the difficulty serves the progression. Every piece of gear matters because the combat demands optimization. So finding a perfect weapon with the right stats feels earned through skill, not just time investment, right? That's why there's a reason Destiny 2 isn't on this list, because I feel Destiny 2 has lost its way as a looter. Instead, you're just investing time into quests and into raids, and you're not necessarily going through a skill-based system. Instead, hey, I finished that quest, now give me the exotic, great, now I can go do the thing. And it's drifted too far away from a looter shooter. Nioh doesn't do that. Also, the Japanese folklore setting here is just fantastic. The story weaves historical elements with supernatural themes effectively. It feels really good. The multiplayer lets you tackle the toughest content with friends. Again, great. You're making memories just like Deep Rock Galactic. So similar to the previous games on this list, if you want a looter that challenges you mechanically while providing deep character progression, Nioh 2 delivers both of these in spades. So check it out. All right, the last game on our list is Torchlight Infinite. Now, I know what you guys are saying. Vulkan, isn't that like action RPG mobile game that they just are tearing apart the IP of Torchlight? Yes and no, right? It does have mobile game DNA built into it, and it does have a monetization system that some people might find aggressive, but the core of the game is incredibly satisfying and fun. It's just a fun game to pick up even just for a week and play. It's free to play, so that you have zero downside, but the combat and the progression systems and the way skills interact with one another and the way the loot works all works very, very well. It is fantastic, and we're right on the precipice of a new season, so now is the perfect time to jump in. So developers, they're providing constant updates. They are looking at the game, they're communicating incredibly well. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, when this game first came out and I played it, I thought this thing is dead on arrival. This thing is not going to be worth a damn, and it's going to be terrible, but it's survived. It's gotten better and better and better. So as long as you have good self-discipline and you don't mind the monetization stuff that's popping up all of the time, this is a good free-to-play way to experience a quality action RPG. It has value. Now, as a primary gaming experience, like if this is the only game you play, your mileage is definitely going to vary. But as a just pick it up and play every now and then, or right when a season drops, you're going to have a great time. Don't forget to check out War Thunder. Play for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile using my links in the pinned comment and description. New and returning players who haven't played in 6 months get a massive bonus pack with the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account. This is available to PC and console players only. It's available for a limited time only, so claim it now. So guys, these 11 games demonstrate that the looter genre is thriving. You have all sorts of different options. You have free to play, you have action RPGs that are Diablo-likes, you have Dark Souls type of games, you have space looters, you have games like Deep Rock Galactic that are more about making memories and having a good time. All of these span across the looter genre. And it's something that I think, looking back, you don't really recognize or realize until you truly take a long, hard look at everything that's out there. So this genre is thriving. You have different play styles, time commitments, budgets, whether you want a hardcore challenge, a casual co-op, space combat, traditional action RPG gameplay, there's something that is out there that's worth your time. The genre has evolved beyond just shoot things, get loot, whack things, get loot. Instead, there are sophisticated progression systems that both respect your time and your intelligence and the knack that you have for building complex characters. So I want to hear from you guys. Which of these games interests you the most? Let me know in the comments below. For me, the one that I enjoyed the most that was kind of out there was Everspace 2. That one I really, really enjoyed because it was something completely different. All these other ones sort of take place sort of similarly, but Everspace 2 truly was different, and it was something that I really, really, really enjoyed. So anyway, I'd like to hear what you guys are playing and what you think of these recommendations.